welcome to the Heart of Bastrop. We have our second talk show, and today's all about entertainment. We've got Lisa Holcomb with Bastrop Opera House and Steph Lewis with Film Alley. I like entertainment. How about you, TJ?
I love it, and I tell you, here in Bastrop County, there is a lot of things to keep you entertained.
Our first guest today is Lisa Holcomb with Bastrop Opera House. Welcome, Lisa.
Well, thank you.
We want to talk about the wonderful building that you're in. It's got such a fabulous history. Do you mind telling us a little about your building?
I don't mind at all. It's one of my favorite subjects. The building was actually built in 1889, and it was built by two Bastrop merchants, Mr. Elsner and Mr. Green, and research shows that it cost all of $15,000 to build,
Wow.
which back then was a sufficient amount of money.
And they were well-known merchants, as I recall, because we know even today there's the Elsner Building and
Yes.
Green Mercantile, so it's
Right.
that same family, isn't it?
Right, yes, ma'am, it was. There was, at the time, another opera house in Taylor, Texas, and they wanted to bring something like that, but even better, to Bastrop, so that's what they did. It started off being called the Bastrop Opera House, not because there was ever opera done there, but because it was more like two-penny opera, traveling shows, and the word theater back then wasn't really where somebody might take their wife, or but if they called it opera house, then it gave it a whole new meaning.
Those titles matter, don't
Yes.
they?
So about 1910, it became a silent movie theater. And then the talkies came in. It was a place where the soldiers from Camp Swift would come and spend a lot of time. They'd come in and just swarm downtown Bastrop, and they'd come see a movie. And then about the late 50s, early 60s, it became what is known as the Teen Tower. And that was a place where teenagers would come and have their dances and parties, and we still have senior citizens that will come in today to see a show and tell me about their experiences and times with the Teen Tower.
Okay, Lisa, you can't get me in trouble with my husband because he does not consider himself a senior citizen. But I have heard many stories about Teen Tower, and one of my favorites is that the Boy Scouts, I know that there's, you can take below the stage, you can take that down, and they had metal planks that they leaned back, and he learned how to shoot a .22 rifle.
Yes,
in
that's very
Teen
true.
Tower.
Yes, it's true. There was a
Interesting.
shooting range underneath the stage, and
Talk about multi-use of one building,
I
right?
know. But that's true. They would just lay down there on the floor and shoot, which is fascinating because if you could actually see under there, you would see that there are huge tree trunks that are, two of them, that are cut down, and at the time it was helping to hold up the stage.
Wow.
So the kids in our academy love to go down there and look at what's underneath the stage.
Well, I love the history, but it's 2020, and I know there's a lot of great things going on now. So
Absolutely.
we still call it Bastrop Opera House. Went back to your roots.
Right.
You guys repainted, and you've done a lot of work on it lately. But tell us what's going on in 2020.
Well, we have a full season of shows. We have about 9 what we call our season productions, and those are the shows that we put on that typically run for 3 weeks long. And then we have some special shows. Some of them are touring shows. It might be a band, it might be a dinner theater. They're usually just a one-time thing or a one weekend event. So we try to kind of mix it up and have something going on almost every weekend.
The shows are fantastic, and my husband and I try to go whenever we can. And TJ, I know you do a lot of things with the teenagers in the community, and I think the Opera House does too.
We do, and we actually here at the studio, we when they have a production, we shoot all the headshots for their production. So that's a lot of fun. So we feel like we get a little bit involved in what's going on. And you mentioned something about an academy. So can you tell us a little bit more about the academy?
Sure. I feel like our academy is the heart of the Opera House. We have this semester, I believe, about 50 kids enrolled from the ages of 8 through 19.
Wow.
So we have 2 younger classes, and then we have our teen troupe. and they meet every week. At the end of the semester, they'll put on their own productions.
Nice.
We have...
And that's open to the community? Those
Yes.
productions that the kids
Oh,
do?
yes. In fact, we
wow.
really encourage them to come and see what these kids have done because they're really amazing. They put a lot of work into their performances. In the summer, we always have a 2-week-long music theater camp that goes all day long for 2 weeks. And at the end of the 2 weeks, they put on their show. And this last season, we did Dr. Dolittle Jr., and
Fun.
the kids ran the whole thing with adult supervision. They were taught how to do the lights, the sounds, the sets, the props. Our stage manager was a 9-year-old.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fun.
So
How fun is that?
it's a great opportunity for the kids, the things that they learn, the confidence that they acquire, the self-discipline they acquire. It really is amazing.
It can go from a passion to a career.
It can,
And that's what
yeah.
I like about it. I think that's great. And TJ, did you tell me we had a special treat this week with the Opera House? What did we do?
So after this interview, you're going to see some footage where our field reporter, Sari Wingenfeld, came out and met with you at the Opera House, and you
Right.
gave her a little bit of a tour. So that's really, so you guys are going to get if you haven't been in the Opera House, you're going to get a little bit of a sneak peek inside. So tell us about the productions you have coming up this year. We're really excited to hear about that.
Well, on February the 8th is one of our special events that we talked about, and DC Cornish, who is an award-winning storyteller, will be coming in and doing a program called Sitting on the Nickel, and it was his accounts of growing up in Houston during the Civil Rights Movement. He has more awards than I could possibly list, national awards. So we had him here 2 seasons ago. He did a different performance, but he is captivating and wonderful, and I encourage everybody to come out and see them. It's something that the family can come and do.
And what was the date on that? I'm sorry, I missed that.
February 8th.
February 8th.
At 2:30. That's a Saturday.
And of course, we'll put that up on our website, so you'll have some information. You want to look at that. But then you also have a website for the Bastrop Opera
Yes,
House. So can you
yes.
tell us what that is?
That's bastropoperahouse.com.
Perfect. And so the Bastrop Opera House is I want to say it right, 501c3.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So you expect and help the community. Hey, come in and help me out in any ways that you can. This is a big gem, Mayor, in our community. I'm sure you'd agree.
And what I tell people is that no theater, no matter how small or large, can run off of ticket sales alone.
That's right.
So we're fortunate to have the city help underwrite some of the shows, and we have some sponsors because we do have to have that help to do what we're doing.
That's wonderful.
Now the
saw
mayor and
play.
me has to talk about how we underwrite some of the shows because that is out of our hot funds, and we talked about those last
Right.
week a little bit, the hotel occupancy tax funds. And because it is such a gem and because it is a tourist attraction, it is a legitimate expense, and so the city funds, and I believe tonight at council you'll be making a presentation
Absolutely.
and giving an update. So it's a way that we take funds that are collected when people stay in a hotel and reinvest it into the community to encourage more people to come stay in the hotel.
Exactly.
And I know there's 2 sides of that stage, and if people don't think they want to be on stage and singing, I know that you always have opportunities for volunteers.
Oh my goodness, yes. The volunteers, we can't do what we do without them. And from the box office to concession to sound, lights, building the sets, the props, it's hours and hours of volunteer time, yeah.
So folks, you've heard it. There's no reason to not be involved in the Bastrop Opera House. It's part of what makes the heart of Bastrop so very, very special. So get out and help out the Bastrop Opera House.
How can they become a volunteer? Do you have that information available on your website?
Yes, there's a link that says volunteers.
Great.
Just click on it.
Great. And,
It has a whole
Is there
form.
Try to make it
a
easy.
certain age that they have to be in order to volunteer?
No, we have kids as young as 13 come in and help with our box office. Yeah.
That's great. So it really encourages people to come in and be part of that. That's
Right,
really
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
It's very, very exciting. So you guys have I don't want to say what it's your playbill or your that you had at the expo.
Our
Is that
season program.
Your season program. So I know that there were a lot of ads in there. So is that a way, people in the community can help you out by doing ads in your
Absolutely.
book for the year?
Yes,
Great.
absolutely.
I'm sure there's a lot of local business owners who would like to get involved in that.
Right.
Yeah, and help support what you do for the kids.
Yeah, they can also help sponsor a show.
Great. Yeah. So I tell you, we really appreciate everything that you do for Bastrop County.
Well, thank you.
Again, I'm sure the mayor would agree. That's a real big gem to have in a community, to have something like that. And we know that you work really hard to make it special. A labor of love. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Well, thank you for having me.
And next up, we're going to have that footage from the Bastrop Opera House.
I'm Sari Wingenfeld, and I'm a field reporter for the Heart of Bastrop talk show. Today we are outside of the iconic Bastrop Opera House. The Bastrop Opera House combines the magic of theater along with the charm of a historic building. It's located right here downtown Bastrop, and so why don't we go in and ask Mrs. Lisa Holcomb to give us a look around. This is Lisa Holcomb. She's the executive director here at the Bastrop Opera House. Thank you so much for being willing to give us this tour today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Welcome to the Bastrop Opera House.
Wow, Lisa, I have to say, sitting on this stage with you right now just creates this sort of natural high, this buzz. It's really incredible. The energy, even with no one in the seats right now, is still kind of this incredible excitement, magical feeling, right? And so you get to feel this all the time, correct? I mean, because you do also participate in these plays, from what I understand, correct?
Yeah, I do. And this is where the magic happens. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is not just right here on the stage that the magic happens. There's a whole setup to making this magic happen, from our volunteers that work in the box office to those who work lights and sound and set design. And I mean, it's weeks of work that goes into making the magic of each and every show and production that we do here.
Right. It's so much more than what you see when you come in and sit down as a viewer.
Right.
There's so much back end and things along those lines. And so even your sets, I see they look beautifully hand painted, correct?
Yes, yes.
And is that done by volunteers as well?
Absolutely. Mr. David Marsh did all of this painting for us. And he came in and spent hours volunteering.
Oh, I imagine this took hours. It's beautiful, absolutely great, and there's so much depth to it too. You can see that he put so much heart into it. This is so much more than just slapping some paint on something. He's really creating a scene and a feeling for people.
Right, and that's exactly what he wanted. He wanted the magic to be shown. And we use that word a lot, the magic, because it truly is magical.
Yes, it's the theater. And let's combine the magic of theater with this incredibly historical building. The ceiling is incredible with all of these embellishments, the gold and the walls. Everything just adds to so much of the feeling and the ambiance, if you will, correct?
Yes. Well, we just celebrated 130 years.
Wow, that's
theater.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I love that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think that it's been around 130 years, and I've always said, if walls could talk.
Oh, no kidding. Could you imagine what this place would offer? Wow, I love that. And so I've also heard that you do youth academies and things along those lines, which it's not really common for community theaters to outreach to the youth, correct?
Right, yeah. A lot of theaters will include youth in their productions, but we have a full-time academy that we go semester by semester. And right now we have, I believe, over 50 children ages 9 through 19 enrolled in different classes that we have during the weekdays. And they do productions up here as well. And then we have our summer camp each summer where we spend 2 weeks with the kids doing a musical, and they're hands-on on everything.
Right.
We train them to run the lights and the sound and to do the set design, and they run the show. In fact, this last summer we did Dr. Dolittle Jr., the musical.
Oh, how cute. I love that. Oh, that's so cute. I wish I would have missed that one.
They did it all. In fact, our backstage manager was a 9-year-old, and she ran a type ship.
Oh my gosh, that's great. That's incredible. So you're really opening up so many doors, more than just artistic love, but I mean also that's speech, presentation, things that a lot of people don't even really think about.
Right.
And then the
confidence that they get when they come in.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And support and team leadership, all of the above. I mean, that 9-year-old, I'm sure, has an incredible leadership skill that she didn't know that she had now.
Exactly, she does now.
And then the technical aspect of producing those lights, I mean, you've got to learn how to slowly bring these up and down and all of that too, correct? That's wonderful. I mean, I just think children are our future, obviously.
Exactly.
And I really love that this theater wants to do so much more than just perform. They really want to wrap around the children of Bastrop. That's
what they learn in theater.
I love it.
I tell them often, even if you've never stepped foot on the stage again, after when you're grown, what you've learned will carry through for the rest of your life.
Oh, absolutely. I used to perform when I was in school and things along those lines. And I mean, at age 12, I was in our town. I was Rebecca.
Oh, wow.
So, I'll never forget it. And we kind of did a little autograph backstage, and it's still there whenever there's alumni meetings and stuff. All of the theater group, really at the alumni meetings, meets together on the stage and talk about something that happened 20 years ago.
Right.
So you're absolutely right. It is something that people will take with them forever.
Right.
I can firsthand testify to that. So that's incredible, though. I really do. And this set is wonderful. Tell me a little bit about the set. What are you doing? What's your production now?
This is called The Wild Women of Wyandotte.
Lisa, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day and your busy schedule with everything that you have going on to give us this tour today. I am a personal love of the Bastrop Opera House. You know, this is not my first time being there. I've been here to a couple productions. And I love every single one and every single time. But it was really great to kind of have some heart-to-heart and real back of the studio type in-depth interview with you. And I learned so much today. I had no idea that this building was 130 years old. And I mean, I knew that it was a historic building with the tiles and everything, obviously, but I didn't know a lot of the things. So you really opened my eyes to a lot of amazing programs that you offer, and just thank you so much.
Absolutely. Come back anytime.
Of course.
We'll get you on the stage.
Oh, fun.
So our second guest today is Steph Lewis. She's with Schulman Theaters Film Alley. Steph, how long have you been in Bastrop?
I moved to Bastrop in March and started working with Film Alley at the same time. So moved here together.
I know you're new to the area, but I learned something new about you. I heard you're a Derby girl.
Retired Derby girl, and I think once a Derby girl, always a Derby girl. I did skate with the Texas Roller Girls in Austin for quite a while. Was on recreational team, and then was a home girl, one of their home team players.
Well, the reason I knew about that is my sister-in-law skated for the Bakersfield Bombers out on the West Coast, and she also skated for the Cherry Blossoms in the D.C. area, and she was a jammer. So as soon as I saw Derby girl, I was like, wow, I've been to some matches and know about that. And I think you had a challenge for the community.
Well, I would love to get a street skate going. I've actually been sort of scouting some roads, and I would certainly open that up. Anybody can swing by the theater, and we can talk about dates and time. I'd love that.
I am interested in doing that with you. I think that would be great.
That sounds like a lot of fun, although I think I'm a little old to be skating, but it's still a lot of fun. Sounds like a lot of fun. I'd probably kill myself. I'd probably never be, if I fell, I'd never be able to get back up.
I think you'd be fine, but thrilled that you're a Derby girl, and it's neat that we kind of have that in common, but I don't think that's why Schulman hired you. Tell us why you're in town.
I came on board. Schulman Theaters was actually hiring a round of marketing and events persons for several of their locations, and I joined to run events and marketing here for the Bastrop location.
So let's talk about the name, because we even had that conversation earlier. Is it Schulman Theaters? Is it Film Alley? Give us a little history on the property.
Sure. Property's been here for a minute, and it was Chestnut Square for a while. The Schulmans bought the theater in 2014 and used the name Lost Pines 8, which I think everyone is familiar with. We changed the name back in March, which is one of my first challenges as I came on board. But it is Film Alley, and that's in line with some of their other locations in Terrell and Weatherford.
But the Schulmans have been in this business for quite a while.
Correct. They have been in the business since the 20s.
Wow.
And in Texas, and so they still own the theater. We're just using another name just to confuse things.
Great. So I had an opportunity to meet a couple of times Morris Schulman, and what a great guy. You can tell he really loves what he does. I know Morris had told me it's him and his son work really closely together. So it's a family business, which would make sense because here in Bastrop, it means a lot to the families here.
Good.
So
I think it's a great, our show is all about the heart of Bastrop, and you can go to Austin, anybody can go to the IMAX theaters, and you're just one of a number. I think it's so great that it's a family-owned local business, and I understand there's some exciting things going on at the theater these days.
We do have some exciting news. We actually started yesterday with the demolition. There has been some rumors that we are renovating, and we started yesterday. Our intentions are to replace the seats in all of our 8 theaters. Doing so will reduce our capacity by 40%, but we will now be able to serve food to you at your theater seat. They'll recline, they're wide and comfortable, so I think that's going to be great.
We are all really excited about that. I cannot wait to see that. And I know they're not just the theater, the inside theaters are getting some changes, but also some changes are coming to what you already have, which we think is remarkable like it is. But tell us about the other changes in the theater.
Sure. So phase 1 is our theaters, including sound and lighting and carpeting and all of that. So that's going to be a major overhaul. And our second phase, we'll start working on the restaurant area. So currently we have about a 500 square foot kitchen, and we'll be moving to roughly 2,000 square feet. We'll have a new bar, inside seating, outside seating. So that's really exciting. We will be doing some work in our bowling area, and we put out a survey recently asking the community what they'd like to see in what was our former Boys and Girls Club space. So we're still working on that, but that'll be phase 3, and we're hoping to finish all that by this year, end of the year.
You're talking about your kitchen, but the food there at the theater has a special story. Tell us about your catering, I hear.
Right. Well, I think most folks don't really recognize that we make a lot of our food from scratch in-house. So we have been sort of dabbling in some catering this past year. We took some challenges and think we met those pretty well. And so we have the ability to do catering inside and outside of the theater now, and certainly with the new kitchen we'll be able to do that.
So it's not just for birthday parties anymore.
Right. Right.
I know that we obviously go to the movie there all the time, and the food's great. Like, I never got something there and went, movie theater food. Doesn't taste like movie theater food. It's well prepared, and everything's delicious. So we're glad. We'll keep feeding us.
Good. Well, I see what we're doing with our Terrell location and our Weatherford location, and I get to see all of their menu items and their sales and their specials of the week. And so we're looking at chicken fried steak and homemade mashed potatoes and salmon and revamping our menu. It's going to be great.
So it's a whole
exciting.
new menu.
It will be.
Oh my
It
goodness.
sounds fantastic. It's the best of both worlds because they've got experience beyond just Bastrop, but it sounds like you're looking at Bastrop specific desires of the community and make it a really special place.
Good.
That sounds really good. And so you said phase 1, that one's already just began?
Just began yesterday.
Great. And so how long before you move into that phase 2, or do you kind of have an idea of when that might be?
Well, construction, we just are at the mercy of so many things, but we do plan to finish our theaters by spring break. We may take a small pause during the summer since it's such a busy time and not have construction going on with all the kids in town, but we'll start second phase kind of at the end of summer. So that was our plan.
So I don't know if there's anyone that's watching that hasn't been to the theater. I'd be really surprised. If you haven't, shame on you. But there you have a game room. And that's something that when my grandkids are here, oh my God. They have their own little cards for the game room. That's like a big deal to them. And so I know there's more than just a theater. So you have the bowling. Don't let me miss anything. You have the bowling, the game room.
We do, the movie theaters, and then we have the ability to do private events.
Private events, but currently you have pool tables, right? But those are going away.
We are. I'm not saying anything definitively, but it may be that
She
we
will not
work on
commit.
that, right?
She will not commit. That's exciting, though. It's. I've seen some of the information about and it's beautiful. So I think we have some information from you on that, and we're show that across the screen so that you guys can get a little bitty sneak peek about what's going on. I know that I read that you have an event coming up at the theater, so I know y'all do events like with the bowling and other stuff as well. As part of different community organizations. Can you tell me about the event that you have coming up?
Sure. On February the 9th, we have reserved the entire bowling lane, 16 lanes, for a fundraiser night at the Oscars with the Bastrop County Long-Term Recovery Team. It sounds like they might still need 1 or 2 teams, so you can check it out on their website. But we're doing kind of an Oscar-themed event, and 4 teams, 4-person teams will kind of run the night and have a great time. So we're providing pizza and all that stuff for the group, and it'll be a fundraiser for that organization. So
now, Steph, if I remember correctly, you also have the ability, if there's somebody out there that would like to train their staff, you guys rent out the theater and allow that for corporate training. Is that correct?
It's something that we tried last year and found that we were fairly successful with that, so we're working on that too. Yes, so you can training events came from an organization many years ago that would rent out the Alamo Theater, so I have that background experience, and so we can run many microphones, we can pipe in videos and things from personal trainings and all that stuff. So yes, we have that ability.
So it sounds like if you haven't been to Film Alley, you need to go, and if you've got some other ideas of things that you want to do there, they need to talk to Steph Lewis. Can they ask for you if they come by the theater?
They can. They can.
I know you're always working, so it should be easy to find her. You know where she's at. I think that we were just talking about, that's exciting. Gives another venue for Bastrop somewhere if people are coming in for corporate events, things like that. And of course, I'm sure they could work out specialized things with you where they could utilize that space, and then maybe have a fun team building, playing, bowling together or something like that. So that sounds like a great deal.
So one question I've gotten in the community is with the renovation. We all know that renovating, there's a price tag that comes along with that.
Right.
What are the ticket prices going to be?
Well, we are still working on all of that, and I have been fielding some of those answers on our Facebook and Instagram as they come in. And so no renovations are free. It's not an inexpensive endeavor that we're doing, but we are working very hard to keep costs down. We recognize that's an issue, so we are working to keep them.
So we need to increase the experience. There's a cost that goes along with that. So you said around spring break we might be able to have that new experience, and I'm sure that even with the new pricing, there'll be you'll have your same discounts that you had for seniors and active military, and probably even a matinee. Would that still be a special pricing?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think it's important for everyone in the community to support our local businesses and to have an option, because in the summer it's awful hot. It's kind of nice to go to a wonderful place, have great food, and get out of the heat, and whatever the weather is, it's always a good time to be at Film Alley.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it, and
I can't wait to see you skating.
Yes. So
we're gonna be doing that together.
Yeah. So we'll hook everybody up with you if they're ready to skate and get that going. Thanks so much.
Well, TJ, we've done our second show, and I'm really proud of it.
Me too. Everything went really well. We found out a lot of great information.
So nice to share about the heart of Bastrop. So I want to thank Lisa Holcomb with Bastrop Opera House for coming. We know that January's nearly over. February is Black History Month, and Lisa mentioned the show Sitting on the Nickel, and that they're doing that in honor of Black History Month. So that's a great way to start the month. And then the very next day, you can go bowling for the night at the opera at Film Alley, and all of the funds raised will be for the Bastrop County Long-Term Recovery Team. So it's a great way to get entertained and do something great for the community.
Absolutely.
What else have we got going on?
Well, it looks like February 4th is Tipsy Tuesday Bunco at the Bastrop Beer Company. Now that sounds interesting. February 6th, we have the Farm Street Opry out at the Bastrop Convention Center. And I think you told me that
Always
happens
the first Thursday.
First
so if it's
Thursday.
the first Thursday, you know that Farm Street Opry will be going on.
Fun. And then February 7th and 8th, there's a main event downtown. So you would check in with, and we talked about what building this was.
Bridges Emporium.
Bridges Emporium. There you go. And they have a lot of fun things going on, including a sidewalk chalk contest. So that should be very interesting. And then, of course, we were talking about movie theaters today. And I'm sorry, about the Bastrop Opera House. Well,
Yes.
Smithville also has a Playhouse. And so this weekend, the 7th and 8th, they have a production called Noises Off going on. So not only do we have one great theater here, we have two.
It's the heart of Bastrop, and I'm just blessed that we're a part of this community.
Absolutely. So next week is our Valentine's show. We're going to tell you, the mayor and I, the top 10 places to celebrate your Valentine's Day in Bastrop County. And we also have a guest from Cult Classic, which is coming up here in Bastrop at the Bastrop Convention Center. And then we'll have another surprise guest for you for Valentine's Day. Until next week.
See you then.